Today's warm-up is about writing expressions using let statements. That's very important. And then substituting in for those variables and solving them once we've written the expressions. So we've been given a scenario, and the directions very specifically say to write 3 expressions. So we need to make sure that we do that. So the first statement says that Alex has twice as many cookies as Nathan. So the question we ask ourselves is, what don't we know first? If Alex has twice as many as Nathan, the thing we don't know first is how many Nathan has. So that therefore is our first let statement. Our second let statement, of course, would be Alex. We're not going to do anything with Rebecca right now. So my first let statement is about Nathan. So I'm going to write let, and I need to assign a variable. I can use any variable. I'm going to use n because it happens to be Nathan. I could use c for cookies. I could use x, anything I want. So let n equal. Now, a lot of your let statements have not been as specific as they need to be. So this should say let n equal the number of cookies Nathan has. You can't just write Nathan because we don't know what about them, or even just Nathan's cookies, because then we don't know. Are you talking about how many cookies he has? Are you talking about the weight of the cookies, the size of the cookies? So it leaves too many things up to guess, so that's why we have to be so specific. So the next thing, of course, is Alex. We start with a let. Alex has twice as many. Twice tells us to multiply by 2, so that should say 2n. I know that some of you want to write 2 times n times 2. Some of you even wrote 2x and ew, these are all yuck. We don't want to do any of these because while it seems like a small little thing right now, it will definitely be something that will end up confusing you later. So we want to get into the good habits now so that we're prepared for when these get more difficult, which they will be doing very, very shortly. I'm almost done erasing all of this. So my next let statement, again, we're multiplying by 2, so it's 2n equals NO with a period in front of it. That's the abbreviation for number. I'm going to use that to make it easier. And this, of course, is the number of cookies Alex has. Next, we have Rebecca. Rebecca has 5 more than Nathan. So we've got to be very careful here. We need to go back to how many Nathan has. Nathan has n. So we're going to say let n plus 5. That's 5 more than n equal the number of cookies that Rebecca has. So now if Nathan has 10 cookies, how many does each person have? Show your work. So this is where some of you are still not using the correct format and or funneling down. So we need to make sure that happens. We're going to start out with the first thing they tell us. Nathan has 10 cookies. So the expression for Nathan was n. I'm going to write a semicolon. N equals 10. I don't have to do anything because it's just n when I substitute in. So 10 cookies for Nathan. Next, we did Alex. Alex's expression was 2n. So I write my 2n because that's the expression. I put a semicolon. A semicolon separates the 2 parts, just like in a sentence in LA. So we have to write both parts every single time so that it's very clear what I'm substituting in for. 2n, so that means 2 times n, which is 2 times 10, which of course is 20 cookies for Alex. And we do need to label these, as always. And the next expression was n plus 5. Again, we write a semicolon every single time. N equals 10. We need to state that. I know it seems redundant, but it is very important that we are this specific every single time. 10 plus 5, of course, is 15 cookies for Rebecca. And we are done. So these are the answers for part 2. And our answers for part 1, of course, were those expressions that we wrote using our let statements.